What's going on, everyone? If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I've got to return to Leia Red every single set, as this is what we started with. The very first video, we did some Leia Red shenanigans back when it was one of the top meta. And to be honest, with this new set, we've got a couple of really amazing additions to the overall game plan. So before we dive in and actually talk about the list and win some games, okay, because that's what we're here to do, a big thank you to my patrons. One of you actually suggested that I return back to the Leia Red, so here we are, and we're going to see what we can do with this today. So, first off, we've got Leia, we're using Rebels, so the first thing you got to think of is, are there any new Rebel or Rebel Synergy cards? And there are honestly a lot of them in the new set, and there are a lot of different options. However, I think there's really one unit that stands out clear cut above the rest, and that is Karis Nemik, the 3/2 for on turn one with hidden, and the when defeated of being able to create a spy token and ready. It is just so much value. It is so incredible. But we also have some other really amazing additions that kind of fit this style. Second one being Nemik's Manifesto. We want to get a couple of different rebels down, and Nemik's Manifesto, if we put it on like a Leia, for example, which we easily can do, or another rebel, this hopefully will hit for like 1 or 2 when that unit dies, and it'll hit for 1 or 2 because it's an upgrade putting on a unit. And we also have Figure of Unity. We can attach this to Leia, give all of our other rebels raid 1, restore 1, overwhelm, and hopefully that'll do some work, especially since, you know, we get a bit of value if we attack with those units first with like a rebel assault. It's a little bit awkward in some cases because, you know, you want to attack with Leia to get another attack in, but we're going to try it out anyways. And we also have Sudden Ferocity. Nothing's particularly with rebels or anything like that, but another upgrade to drop on Leia alongside, you know, maybe a Nemik's Manifesto or something of that note to get some value brewing there. On top of all that, we are also running Jar Jar, so we can do like a Sudden Ferocity Jar Jar turn where we play Leia, deploy Sudden Ferocity and Jar Jar on Leia or whatever other unit we want, and get an attack in with multiple units. That's kind of the game plan. To back it up, we've got a bunch of other Rebel units, things like Fleet Lieutenant, you know, A-Wing, Sabine Wrens, all that good stuff that we're all used to, and we're going to see if we can pull off some wins today. Let's dive into it. Alrighty, first matchup, we've got an old classic. This is what, you know, we were playing Leia back in the day for. Pretty bad hand. We have a lot of turn 1 play, so it's going to be a little bit disappointing if we don't grab one of those. Resource one of the R2s and probably the Chewie, because I'm not really that excited about the Chewie, but we can go Sabine Wren on turn 1, and we'll see what my opponent's got. Karis Nemik would be very scary, so I don't want to see that. Ooh, Blue Leader. It's gonna come in real good here. Blue Leader's looking absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. We'll resource the A-Wing. We're gonna drop a Blue Leader. Now, what's interesting about this is I don't even feel like we're still super far ahead because Sabine has ECL, and ECL can do some nasty things. So that's something that we have to really keep in mind. And they have a turn early deploy. So between those two things, we could potentially be in a lot of trouble. So we'll have to see. The ECL is really the scary part about it, since they can one-shot the Leia when it comes down. Wow, they're ECLing out the Sabine Wren. I mean, sure, we'll Tarkin Town it. If that's their play, I mean, they only had one option, really. I don't know if they really had anything else to do with the ECL, right? But that's really good for us, because now our Leia is safe when we deploy it, in theory, unless they take the heroic sack of K2 or whatever. But that's much better for us. Much better for us. Trading Tarkin Town for ECL in this type of matchup, and we're left with a Blue Leader. Great start. Doesn't mean we're winning yet, because they can deploy Sabine, put a Darksaber on, and it's like, ooh, but feeling pretty good. Waiting for my opponent to figure out what they want to do here. We've used our Tarkin Town, so okay, they're going to claim. Great, we're going to pass. We've got Fleet Lieutenant, another Sabine. No resource to Sabine, simply because the Fleet Lieutenant does have some options. I kind of want to go Sabine's Masterpiece plus R2D2 on this turn, so we'll see what we get, but that's kind of the game plan for now. Leia action can do some really nice things. Getting in attacks with multiple units can definitely cheat some things in our favor. Probably just deploy Sabine here. Okay, they're going to use the action from Sabine. We'll put the A-Wing on the bottom, play an R2. My guess is they have Darksaber, right? And they're just going to Darksaber us, which is probably the best thing that they can do. So we'll see. Or maybe they have like a, well, they already deployed. So I was thinking like Jar Jar plus Yoda's lightsaber, which would be pretty solid. And there's the Darksaber. Wow, who would have guessed they're playing Darksaber? You know, it just is what it is. They're going to get in some damage. It's going to be a lot of damage. But we're going to be able to deploy Leia, and we have a bigger board on the battlefield right now, which is pretty nice. Okay, we have a Sabine that we can deploy now. I think what I'll do is I will put down Sabine first, because that is going to give our Sabine's Masterpiece some extra value. I know this is kind of min-maxing every single little attack here, but that's kind of what we need to be doing in Sabine, especially if they have like a Poe Dameron here that, you know, they attack with Sabine and then they attack with Poe Dameron and Sabine next turn and it's game over. We need to be finishing them off with every point of damage. Right now, this represents, because this could hit for 1 damage to a base and give an experience tokens. This represents 5 damage for Sabine's Masterpiece, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 15. Which gives us the win with a Leia attack plus, you know, attack with another unit. So that's kind of the idea here. Okay, let's go ahead and use the experience over on Blue Leader. Deal 1 damage to the base. Attack with the Blue Leader. Get in for some more damage. If they pass my... Okay, they're not going to pass. Let's go ahead and deploy Leia. I can knock out the Poe Dameron. Let me think about this for a second. If they have like Heroic Sack, this deals 9, which doesn't quite win. This deals 10, which literally wins. So it might be just better to Fleet Lieutenant kill the Poe Dameron, because I still do have 5. Or I have 4 plus, yeah, 5 damage, 9 damage. I technically win the game with Heroic Sack. I think it's better to kill the Poe Dameron here and then hit for 1. Ooh, Rebel Assault is great. That is what we want to see. Rebel Assault is what we want to see. We don't need to resource anything really. Rebel Assault is clutch here because this again represents 5 damage, right? And then this is 6 and then 11. That's almost lethal. Not quite, but very, very close. Sundari Peacekeeper. Yep. Not really going to be worried about that. We'll give it experience token, deal 1 damage, attack in. And that is 1 point of damage away from winning the game. And I'm literally was just playing around something like a Heroic Sack to one-shot us, right? From that Poe Dameron. So kind of playing not to lose, which I think we are in a place to do so. So let's go Heroic Sack, get in, top, whatever, draw a card, and that's GG. Pretty amazing start, though, with them having to use ECL. Imagine if they had ECL Poe Dameron in there. That would have been way worse for us. Next matchup, we've got an interesting one. I am going to... They could have Cyril Karn. They could have some other options like that. I think, you know, here I'm going to keep... I'm going to resource this and the Jar Jar. And I'm going to start dependent on what they start with. They could pass here. They have an early deploy. They have Tarkin Town. It's a little bit scary to see what they've got going on. They've got a silencer. Okay, so we're going to go with Sabine Wren then for sure. I want to get Sabine Wren over the Battlefield Marine down. Sabine's Masterpiece looking less exciting here for us, but going to play our 2 drop here. They have a really early to deploy, which could be a little bit scary. Let's pass. 4 Icons, not exactly what I'm looking for. We're going to resource the A-Wing. A-Wing is just so bad up into a silencer here. At least the Sabine's Masterpiece trades. Let's go Battlefield Marine here. And then we'll play the R2. I do like getting down multiple units. That is something that's really beneficial for us. Put Battlefield Marine on the bottom. Because of Leia's action, we're going to be able to utilize them all. Cassian. All right, let's resource that one. And we'll see what my opponent wants to do here. Hoth Lieutenant. Dang, yep, that's pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and attack in to the, I guess, Grand Inquisitor. We'll keep that on top. Attack in with this guy. We're going to be able to Tarkin Town away this one. And And we'll see what they decide to do. They're passing. Okay, let's play Sabine's Masterpiece then. Just take advantage of all the actions that I could potentially have. And we will attack, deal 3 to the Daedra. And then we will claim. Okay, they're going to get rid of the Sabine, which makes a good amount of sense. Let's go ahead and resource this. And we'll just deploy out. We'll attack with a rebel unit. We will attack here, giving an experience token to the Sabine's Masterpiece. Then attack here and kill off Daedra. Really can't have any units running around at this point. We're under just so much pressure. Blue leader's going to look pretty nice here. We've got Leia as a deploy, which is going to be pretty nice. We can knock out the Hoth Lieutenant. Hopefully they just don't have another space unit. Because I think with Blue leader, R2, and Leia, we can deal with anything on the ground. But I'm just worried about another space unit here. Okay, great. Let's go with Blue leader here. Pay 2 resources. Ambush, kill the Hoth Lieutenant. And then we'll see what my opponent wants to do following. It might be that I claim initiative here because my opponent plays a secondary unit. Okay, let's go ahead and attack in here. Attack in here. Keep Fleet Lieutenant. That's going to be as good as any. Pass. Figure of Unity. Ooh, Figure of Unity actually looks really good here. We are going to be able to restore a decent chunk. And if they have like Chaos of War, that could be very scary for us, right? Ooh, this is close. Ooh, this is close. And Overwhelm. Ooh, I mean, they can draw cards if they want to use Daedra's ability, but cards like Chaos of War and Daring Ray would be the ones that I'd be most scared of here. So we'll see. But they could also have Aggression, which would be a little bit scary. Oh, man, I can go Fleet Lieutenant. I could stall here. You know what? Let's go ahead and attack here. Give an experience token over to Leia. I know I could play Figure of Unity, but if they have something else here. Okay, now we've got Figure of Unity. They have another space unit. That's pretty bad for us. Okay, they can draw a card. That's fine. We're going to go Fleet Lieutenant. Get in. It's going to restore one. We're going to restore one again, and then we're going to attack, and that's GG. Great. I was a little bit worried that they would be able to kill one of my blue leaders or Battlefield Marine. We wouldn't be able to end the game there. But we did have, that's a total of 7, 8, right? That's 15 plus 4, which is 19 damage. I mean, that was a good finish. Very, very close. They had a very aggressive start. I do like the Hoth Lieutenant. I think this is one card that people might be sleeping on a little bit from the Hoth sets. One of the few cards that I think actually has some viability. Very much like a Fleet Lieutenant in terms of how it plays out. Good game. All right, we've got the new guard against the old guard Cassian, but with Data Vault. This could be a little bit scary for sure. Yeah, we're going to go with our own Karis Nemik, and if we want to just trade here, not a great start. Not a great start. I did resource the A-Wings because I was a little bit worried about, what they could potentially have. I'm hoping they don't kill my Karis. I think, honestly, they could race us and just be way, way more efficient because we have such a low HP base that I think it's just better for them. We're going to go hit for 5 with Karis. We're going to be able to have the initiative, so that's really valuable because we might be able to knock out both their units here on the next turn. Okay, they're going to go with a space unit. That's fine. We'll see what we want to do, actually. Sabine's Masterpiece could be pretty good. It could be good. Okay, let's just go ahead and... I mean, I can attack with both and just put down the K2. Seems weaker, but I think that's probably what we want to do here. Get in for 6. I could also put down the Sabine's Masterpiece. Oh, tricky spot. I kind of want to put Nemik's Manifesto on K2 since he's got the Overwhelm. Okay, let's go with K2 here. Rebel Assault could be pretty solid. Nemec's Manifesto could be pretty solid. We have an earlier deploy than they do, which can kind of make up the HP difference a little bit. I don't know. This is a close game already. They've got K2 of their own. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. Ooh, Wing Leader, huh? Yeah, Wing Leader's going to be good. Okay, let's go with Rebel Assault here. Get in for a lot of damage. Nemec's Manifesto and Wing Leader can jump on that Leia here, which would be pretty solid. We do have the Nemec's Manifesto to ready up a spy token should Karis die here. Waiting for my opponent to make a decision. Honestly, attack with K2 into the Karis Nemec doesn't look too bad for me, or to me. I think that would be a reasonable play. We could have done it to them, but I think we're on a spot where we just need to end the game. We are very, very close to dead, and a little bit worried about that. Let's go ahead and deploy Leia. So I think what I want to be doing, we're going to go Wing Leader on Leia. Chewbacca, huh? Okay, that's an attack in for that. And then we claim initiative? And it's GG? Nice. Nice. So we got there. We got there with the Leia. Whew, that was a little bit close. I was thinking I could go Nemec's Manifesto. If I had another aggression unit, like if I had not resourced this Karis, I could have gone Nemec's Manifesto, attack Karis, their Karis, right? Which would have gotten me a 4 damage hit, right? 4 damage to the base. And it would have readied up the spy token. So it's a total of 6 damage. It would have given me +2 damage, right? Which is awesome. But it doesn't really matter because we wouldn't have killed them with that anyway. So whatever. Heroic Sack, though. If we had a Heroic Sack, man, if you put Karis Nemec, Manifesto on Karis Nemec, Heroic Sacked it in, oh my gosh, that would have been incredible. Incredible. All right, into the next game, we've got ourselves the Mon Mothma, which is a little bit worrying. It's a little bit worrying. I think this hand's pretty bad. I'm going to mulligan this one. The 4 causes isn't really what we want to be doing. Like, we need to end the game by the time they get to the Unity of Purpose. And I actually think we want a lot of space units here. Rebel Assault I do like quite a bit. I think I'm going to resource both of the Battlefield Marines. And we're going to ignore their units. Just going to ignore their units. Bail Organa, yeah, they're going to have a lot of units. But we are racing. We just need to, close out the game. That is what we're looking to do. Just close out the game. So A-Wing coming in, hit for 3. We actually have more HP than they do, which is kind of crazy. The Sabine's Masterpiece plus the 1 ping plus Tarkintown can actually, kill off a unit. So that's going to be pretty good. The Chandrillin sponsor's looking pretty good for them. Akbar does nothing. We get to claim. Ooh, Fleet Lieutenant, huh? I think we resource the 4 cause. Well, maybe it's the Fleet Lieutenant. Yeah, you know what? We're going to go Fleet Lieutenant resource. So I'm going to go A-Wing because it's going to give us an extra damage on the Sabine's Masterpiece. I think that's going to be pretty important. They can't kill off Sabine's Masterpiece with command, which would be a concerning kind of thought. They do have command, though. Dang. Ooh. Yeah, they're knocking out. Oh, geez. It's pretty good for them. They don't get the ability to deploy their leader this turn, at least. So that's good, but wow, they're actually really? Interesting. I'm surprised they decided to go for the attack there. Huh. Yeah, very, honestly, very surprised that they decided to go for the attack there. I like Nemec's Manifesto. I really do. Is it better than the For a Cause? Because I want Rebel Assault as well. I don't think it is. Another command? Wow. Okay, opponent. Chill. I mean, that is crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's deploy Leia. We'll play Jar Jar using plot, giving the +2/+2 to Leia, giving it 5 power now. I mean, honestly, my opponent kind of should just be racing me. Like, I think that's what they should be doing. Because now we just win with a Sabine's Masterpiece attack. So, I mean, honestly, the commands and stuff, I thought they were going to go with, like, deal damage and then ramp, which is why I was a little bit more scared, but they didn't go for that. So I'm really not worried at all. But they do have double command, and then attacking my R2, I think they should just ignore it. Like, your game plan is just to get the unity of purpose and win the game, and our game plan is just to ignore your units because you have so many of them and just hit the base. So I'm pretty happy with where we're at. If you're playing this deck Mon Mothma Green, you just can't play the I kill your unit type of game plan. Usually you just have to keep all your units around, and hopefully if the unity of purpose of the Mon Mothma deploy is going to win you the game. Yeah, they're going to attack with another unit, but it doesn't matter. We can go Rebel Assault, attack with another Rebel unit, and then, yeah, GG. GG. All right, we got Piet Red next up, and, nope, this is a reasonable hand. I don't mind this one. Chewbacca, probably not the card I want, and I'm going to go with Sabine on turn 1, because my opponent could have, you know, a smattering of different space units to deal with my space units, even though I do want to get Sabine's Masterpiece down. But they also could have like Gonk Power Droid, which I do want to get rid of. So they have DRK-1 Probe Droid, which, you know, honestly, okay. Honestly, okay. We can go ahead and just get rid of that if we want to. Question is, do I want to? I think we just ignore it. I think we ignore it. We just go with Fleet Lieutenant. We just ignore the DRK-1 Probe Droid. I know we could kill it, but, you know, my opponent typically won't have a lot of things to combo with DRK to make it an issue for us. Like, they could have Super Laser Technician right now, which wouldn't be too bad, or, you know, something like there's a Super Laser Technician, like I mentioned. But honestly, I don't really care too much about that. I don't really care about too much about that. Karis Nemec, we're going to go out and attack the Super Laser, hit 1 to the base, just to preserve our Fleet Lieutenant for an attack here. I should have used the Leia action. That was a silly maneuver by me, but that's okay. Well, maybe. If they kill off the Fleet Lieutenant, it's not okay. Yeah, it's not okay. Well, you know, we learned our lesson, I suppose. Let's go with Sabine's Masterpiece. Yeah, not too great for us. Let's claim initiative. There is... Okay. Interesting. We're going to get in for 3 here. Okay, they're going to ignore our unit. Let's deploy Leia. Gonna pass on any plot shenanigans here. Fulminatrix, huh? Wow, that's brutal, actually. Fulminatrix. Brutal. We will go ahead and put Nemec's Manifesto on here as well. And we will just attack in. Pass. Another Sabine's Masterpiece. Nemec's Manifesto will go ahead and give us a bunch of damage here. Fulminatrix doesn't quite kill it either. That's great. Devastator doesn't quite kill it. They can't even reach the big Devastator. Oh, they got over... Ah, come on, man. Yeah, sure. The 3 damage wouldn't have mattered. They just had a great hand. They just had a great hand. We could have, you know, tried to do something around the Super Laser Technician, but we just needed to be a little bit more aggressive and then get a little bit more damage in. That's kind of the tough part about Piet, is that if they have things like Overrunning Barrage, it's tough. It is tough. Fulminatrix, getting in 4 damage, but even then, if that was just, you know, instead of Fulminatrix like a Devastator, you know, it would have been the same effect. Palp Data Vault next up here. They'll probably have Power of the Dark Signs and shenanigans like that, so I think this hand is pretty mediocre. This is a much better hand. This is a much better hand. Very happy about this one. I think the Rebel Assault's actually going to be the resource here up against the Palp style deck. We're going to start with the Karis Nemec for sure, since if my opponent just has Power of the Dark Side, we have, you know, at least a little bit of value to be gained. Okay, this works. We're going to go Wing Leader on Karis because it's not going to be able to be killed by the Super Laser. And even if the Karis does die, we still get that little bit of value, which would be pretty nice. R2 going to be the resource. We can go two drops here, which might be just double A-Wing. Okay, Merciless Contests. We'll get rid of the Wing Leader. they'll ramp a little bit. We're going to go Charismatic attack. We're going to go A-Wing, pass. Sudden Ferocity, great pickup. Great pickup. We can deploy Leia, Sudden Ferocity, Rebel Assault. I mean, that's going to be a great turn. K2 can kind of slowly get some more damage in. Let's go ahead and deploy Leia. Grab a Sudden Ferocity with plot. Play Jar Jar using plot. And now what we can do is attack in. Seems good. Seems really good. Seems really good. I don't know how they win at this point. I mean, Karis is going to be able to create the spy token as well. They could have some plot things to do, right? They could have some plot, but who cares? We've got Rebel Assault here. We're going to be able to Rebel Assault in and end the game. This is kind of what I mean by, like, Palp is like, oh, man, you play the Dogmatic Shock Squad. Sure. It's a 6 resource, 4/6 Sentinel. It does nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Karis Nemik, so much threat from this card, right? Because they have to deal with it, but if they deal with it, then we get a spy token and we can still beat down, right? Really strong. And the Sudden Ferocity was great, keeping the Karis Nemik alive and keeping the Leia alive. They had one plot card to play, like Cad Bane. Sure, I guess. I mean, again, not much that my opponent could do, really, but we just crushed it. Into our next matchup, we're going to keep this hand. My opponent could have like that Allegiant General Pride shenanigans going on. I do like the Sabine's Masterpiece here, potentially. It can, do some work against their space unit since it can grow pretty big. They could also just have open fire, and that always is a classic. I'm going to resource the K2 and the Sudden Ferocity here. Obviously Sudden Ferocity for obvious reasons, but Chewbacca could be dropped on the Sabine's Masterpiece and create like an unstoppable space unit here. So that's kind of the thought there. We'll see what my Boba Green opponent's going to be doing over there. They could have Topple the Summit, things like that. We can't take a whole lot of indirect damage into our base because we have that 25 HP base. So we do have to be pretty careful about what we're, taking in terms of damage wise. They could have an HK on turn 1 into an open fire, which kind of sucks, right? They could have just the Legion General Pride, which would be pretty solid because we can knock it out here. They have an HK. Yep, there it is. HK, kind of expected here. Resource the Cassian, and well, the game started as I thought. Into open fire, question mark. We're gonna go and hit their base for 3. We'll see if they decide to attack my Battlefield Marine. If they do, I think I just Tarkin Town the HK. Okay, they do not. My guess is they have open fire and they're attacking because they're trying to open fire my better unit on turn 2, which makes sense. But we'll see what they actually have here in just a moment. My opponent had open fire. I think it's just an immediate open fire on Sabine's Masterpiece. So, I don't, or maybe even Battlefield Marine because, okay, they got resupply. Yeah, sure. This is going to work out nicely for us because what we can do here, I think I'll resource the Sabine's Masterpiece, is attack with the Sabine's Masterpiece, give this an experience token and kill the HK, which would be really nice. That's kind of a nice 1-2 punch. Play out the K2 following that, or maybe even two drops. So we'll find out. Opponent taking a little while to resource some cards. It's okay, though. It's okay. They're thinking. We've got them on the back foot. I mean, honestly, Boba Fett deploy into Topple the Summit could just destroy our board. So I don't know if I want to go with them multiple turn 2 drops. So I think I'm just going to go with K2. Okay, my opponent, maybe they're lagging out here. Maybe they lagged out. I don't know. Disconnected? Question mark. Okay, nope. They're still in the game. Attack with that. Give an experience token. Attack with that. Kill HK. It's a tricky balance here because we do have to balance our HP and our opponent just ability to go Overwhelming Barrage or Topple a Summit with a Boba Fett deploy and being completely obnoxious, right? That type of stuff is completely ruining the game for us. Enforcer Squadron, nothing we could have done with that anyway, so may as well have gotten in the attacks that we could have. Chewbacca could be the play here. I think I would prefer to go a 2-drop plus Sudden Ferocity. So I think I'm just going to resource Chewbacca because I don't think it's going to be anything good for us anymore. Like I said, they could deploy Boba, deal a bunch of damage, Topple the Summit, and we lose our entire board. Honestly, it's very likely that they have something of that nature. That's why I decided to play K2. Oh, okay. So they're gonna go with the Cinta deploy here, which honestly is a lot less scary. It's a lot less scary. They can distribute the 4 damage. They can knock out like Sabine's Masterpiece or like a K2SO. I don't think that's the right distribution. I think they should have probably knocked out Sabine's Masterpiece if they were going to go kind of this direction. We are going to deploy Leia, play Sudden Ferocity on the... Ooh, I mean, I guess I could take out the Enforcer Squadron, but I think we really want to be getting as much damage in as possible here. Then we'll go Karis Nemik. We will attack, give an experience token over to the K2, deal 1 damage, then attack again, and then pass. Kind of an awkward situation for them, because if we get any attack in, this is 7 damage, right? This is 5 damage, that's 12 damage. GG. So they need to deal with Leia, plus another unit, potentially, or just, you know, just Leia. Like Turbo Laser Salvo would do it. That would be really obnoxious, by the way. But even if they do have an answer here, I mean, they need to get into attacks as well. They could have Overwhelming Barrage that would give 11 power, so they could knock out Leia plus Sabine's Masterpiece. We attack with K2. They attack with Enforcer Squadron. We lose, right? So, I mean, there are... Overwhelming Barrage would be bad. Let's just say that. It's going to be bad. Very bad. Okay, that's GG. So we get to attack and then attack, and great, we won. GG, very, very close. You know, if they had the top of the sum, it would have been a very, very different game. But with that, scary. It is a scary, scary deck. Scary. Alrighty, so what did we learn with Leia Red today? Well, the new Rebels, pretty solid. Karis Nemik doing some work. I didn't really actually get to see the spy token deploy, but the threat of it is just so, so powerful. Sabine's Masterpiece was basically in every single game, and that's always a good card. But Sudden Ferocity coming in and really putting a lot more power on the board was really critical. Take, for example, that last game where we had the Sudden Ferocity on our Leia that gave an extra 6 damage, which made the difference between winning in that single action versus, you know, another attack, which would have lost us the game. Figure of Unity, also same kind of boat. Nemik's Manifesto, we didn't really get to see deploy all that often. It just didn't really come into play. We had a lot of games where we were just straight up racing. In the games where we had the more controlling matchup like Palpatine, we just ran through, like not even a contest. So, you know, it really depends on the matchups that you're fighting where we see the strength of Karis Nemik, Nemik's Manifesto. But Sudden Ferocity, the reason why it was so dominant here is because we were racing. And so getting that extra 3 power immediately was critical, absolutely critical. Overall, I mean, I think Leia Red has gotten a lot better. So to give it a shot, play with Karis, play with Jar Jar, play with Sudden Ferocity, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. And it's always going to be something that I come back to. It was the very first deck that I built for the channel and the very first deck I built in paper, actually. So thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all for the next one.